used to it.
Yeah, you are. Well, what, like 2 months now? Yeah. So I got some pump up things. I think everyone in the room got a chance to introduce themselves, right? And then part of this is accountability. So coaching, accountability. So if you kind of feeling someone in the room as far as you like their goal or their ideas or energy, I think that's the number one thing that will happen with us all getting together is finding some accountability partners and saying, you know, Tyler, I'm going to do this. Chris, I'm going to do that. Just holding each other accountable, not only holding yourself accountable, is definitely one way to achieve our goals. And then the masterminding part. So love, Joanne, that you brought some examples. I put out the poll today on the first to know, and I first was like, oh crap, there's gonna be so many people that have said that they've tried direct mail without any sales. How am I gonna, sell direct mail to everyone when there's no, quantitative metrics to back it up? And then we started getting more and more and more people that said, yeah, we've actually made a sale from it. And I have talked to not just agents in our company, but also agents in our market. Some of the top 5, 10% of agents that do direct mail, they do it consistently, and I know it's proven. I've also talked to agents across the country from other RE/MAXes. Every year we go to the convention. Every time I'm at a broker owner convention that do direct mail. So I wouldn't have spent a good chunk of, this will be my 3rd or 4th time, I think, Michelle, presenting this, maybe third time presenting this material to our agents. I wouldn't have spent as much time over the weekend updating this if I didn't believe that this will be a great additional pillar for you. So some pump up things that I want to tell you guys is don't leave 2020 to chance. Believe you can maintain and grow by 20%. Again, I apologize for the agents that have been here. I'll be a broken record, but the reason why I feel that everyone in our company, everyone in this room can grow by 20% is because that's a very organic, comfortable growth percentage. If in this room, anyone wanted to say, we want to grow by 30, 50, 75%, absolutely, we can do those, but we're going to have to add some additional things. We're going to either have to work more hours than you currently work. We're going to have to add more resources, whether it's lead generation tools, more individuals, whether it's additional buyers, agents, assistants, things like that. But 20% is a very comfortable organic growth for most businesses and most agents. We're also going to do that by focusing on 5% improvements. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? You guys don't have to come out with a new hairstyle and a new name and a new logo and, just change the way that you're doing business. You don't have to go from full service agent to flat fee agent just to get the business that you guys want to get. What we need to do though is just focus on some process improvements, some efficiency, some effectiveness indicators, 5%, and that should be a great goal for everybody. I talked about this. This was the first one, right, Michelle? 2020 economic and market forecasts are looking very, 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 very strong. There's no reason why people can't help others find or sell homes with the rates, with the demand. So right now, if you don't hit your goal, it's not really anything external. It's going to be definitely everything internal. Okay, we got to remember that real estate is a numbers game, and it's a contact sport. So not just this direct mail that we're going to be talking about as a part of your contact sport, but also definitely the referrals. We want to make sure that you guys are keeping your window of opportunity open. I know most business owners, most agents, our window might be wide open because this is day one, or we've had a great 2019, or we had a great, January 1st or 2nd week or 3rd week. But if we don't have in the future closings for February lined up, or March lined up, or April lined up, or May lined up, I think everyone in this room could probably say your window's going to close real fast. And the next thing you know, we see Chris bartending at the Karma Bar, right?
That's right, man.
He's a hell of a bartender too, I bet. I don't think you've ever made me drink. We've just drank a lot of drinks together. Let's put that on the checklist.
Yeah, we'll
so yeah, no one's guaranteed to have success. You have to have a sense of urgency. I think too many of us, I've been reading this really good book. I always mess up the name of the book. It's in my Audible. It's the 12-week year, something like that. But I think too many of us focus on a 12-month goal. I want to sell 30 homes. I want to sell 100 homes. I want to hit 10 million in volume. I want to hit X whatever in transact in commission, right? What I want us to do though, the sense of urgency is take 12 months and divide it by 12. So now all of a sudden you have monthly goals. Or the book says take the 12 months and divide it by 4 and have quarterly goals. So that every day becomes a week. Every week becomes a month. Every quarter becomes a year, because what happens a lot of times is we look at the end of the year, last quarter, third quarter, like, oh crap, sorry, pardon my language. We're not close to our goal, so everyone hustles, right? They hustle and they pick up the phone and they start sending emails and newsletters and text messages and doing more open houses. And the next thing you know, you have a pretty darn good third and fourth quarter and you finish the year strong. But what happened to your second quarter? What happened to when you were, hanging out with the kids all summer long, or on the boat all summer long, or on the golf course all summer long? Well, we still have 6 more months to hit our goals, right? So we really need to condense our timelines and our goals and make every day, every week matter, okay? Time doesn't stop. No action, no income. Leads, appointments, and contracts are lead indicators. Closings are lag indicators. So last weekend, congratulations, Chris, I know was Circle of Excellence. Circle of Excellence was awarded to individuals that were in the top 5% of our market. How they calculate Circle of Excellence is based off of units times average sales price in DMAR. So it was, if you sold 50 units at like 229,000, and what was the volume? It was like right around 11 million, something like that. You were awarded the Circle of Excellence Award. Concepts, we had 24, which was awesome. It was a very, very strong showing for us. But to have that goal, I want to hit 50 units, and you're kind of going off of that end goal, that end closing, right? That is a lag indicator. The lead indicators, though, that's what I want you guys to focus on. The lead indicators is how many mailers have I sent out? How many open houses are on my calendar? How many appointments do I have? How many text messages and emails have I sent out? Those are all lead indicators, because by hitting those goals, those activity goals, those lag indicators will happen. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. We also want to make sure we are always planting seeds. With direct mail is definitely doing that, sending out newsletters, building referral systems, set people up on drip campaigns are all planting seeds. It's nurturing, it's harvesting, but also we do need a hunt. That's what open houses are. That's what going to networking events are. That's what's organizing coffees and lunches and having people over your house for dinner. That's being a hunter, calling up for sale by owners, expireds, networking with developers and builders. And this is something that I will always guarantee. To be successful, we have to always remember service, right? We gotta have 5-star service. Why did Google and Facebook and Yelp come up with different ways to review businesses? Because that's important to the consumer. The service, the 5-star service. And absolutely, the more service, the better service that we can provide to the agents, the more they're gonna praise you as an agent, the more their word of mouth is gonna just scream from the hilltops, making sure that everyone knows that, if you don't use Tony, you don't use Chad as your agent, you're gonna miss out, because they took care of me, they treated me like gold, they rolled out the red carpet. Okay, so out market, out hustle. Kobe Bryant, who just passed away yesterday, that man cannot be outworked. He cannot be out hustled. So think about that every single day. Someone right now, we are hustling right now because we're here learning, but those people outside that we're competing with, again, for listings and things like that, or we're looking at their numbers and trying to be like them, emulate them, or keep up with them, they're always working. I know I am. So in the Newton's third law, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if we have some positive action, we should have a positive reaction. If we have a negative action, we'll have a negative reaction. So just remember that. It's an activity action game. Does that sound good? All right, so why direct mail? I mentioned this earlier. It's one of the core 4. It creates brand awareness, especially if you're trying to target the neighborhood you live in, the neighborhood that you want to do a lot of business in. And we send the Rodalo team to all the houses up and down Ingersoll as our geographic farm, or all the, people that we're targeting that have been in their homes for at least 5 to 7 years in Adel. Next thing they know Trisha's face. You're gonna be a local celebrity. They're getting already know Chris. If people don't know, Chris is kind of a big deal here in the mornings. But they're gonna know your guys' face. They're gonna know your name. It's cost effective when done correctly. Every mailer that you send out now, in total, it can be very, very expensive, right? But individually, what do you think you'll spend on sending this out? Or I'm sorry, Joan. I don't know why. Sorry, Joan.
$1 quarter per
$1 quarter. Yeah. Yeah, these lists are key, right? What company do you use?
The marketing department.
Okay. Oh, this is from us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Creative Concepts. There
Wow,
you go.
that looks so good. I didn't see this one.
No,
This isn't in the.
Actually,
this isn't in the little portfolio that.
They saved the good ones for
They created
Joan,
it for
yeah.
me. They created it for me.
That one's custom.
Oh, this one's custom.
There you go.
This looks great. Yeah. Sorry, I guess I dropped. But it's very cost effective when done correctly. It allows for us to target specific neighborhoods. We talked about that. Less competition for attention. Do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Not everyone's doing direct mail. Not everyone is out sending postcards. So again, back to part of your marketing plan, your strategy. What can you do to stay ahead of the competition? And then also they save it. Have you guys ever been to a listing appointment or been somewhere, a friend's or family member's house that you sent them some sort of direct mail piece and it's on the refrigerator? It's hanging up in their office. I love it. I have magnetic calendars from like 2010 on some of my friends' refrigerators, probably because I haven't sent one out since 2000. Well, maybe let's say 2012. But it's awesome. And it's top of mind awareness, right? That's what it's all about. So those are why we do it. Number one reason for direct mail, people want to work with a local expert, right? And that's the cool thing about direct mail is you can easily position yourself as a local expert, especially with all the different campaigns we're going to be talking about, whether it's market stats, whether it's new to the market, whether it's you have buyers for that exact neighborhood, whether it's you're looking for a house in that neighborhood for a certain reason. So people love working with a local expert. I definitely know my experience as an agent, like, ooh, your office is in, West Des Moines. Why should you list my house in Ankeny? Now there's definitely ways to overcome that. But if you're targeting that area, maybe they're going to be like, I want to work with Ben because Ben is, always sending me stuff. He lives around the corner. He's the area neighborhood. Why should I work with this other agent from, the opposite side of town? Why most agents don't do it, it's too expensive, takes too much time, tried it, didn't work, not sure how, what to send, impatient, and want immediate results. So I definitely will say that those are our main reasons to not do direct mail. Because back to the costs that we're going to talk about, it should be a part of what we budget from a marketing standpoint. I'll talk about this if I have a bullet somewhere. Actually, I do the next section down, but we coach to calculate 5 to 10% of your total gross commission towards marketing. So sometimes you don't have to spend that much, but at least that should be a part of your financial budgets when you're working your month to month, year to year. Okay, too much time. So Joan, is that a set it and forget it type of thing?
The marketing department had me help them design, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I told them what they wanted, and I didn't touch it, and it went out.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Turkey. It's plug and play. So it doesn't take too much time. Tried it and it didn't work. That's one of the things that really, if you're ever in like a leadership meeting with me and someone says, oh, we tried that last year, we tried it the other time, is it like the overall idea that doesn't work, or is it the execution, the implementation? Because there is an art and a science with direct mail. So some people might say, I sent out this postcard in 2019 and it was all about me being the #1 agent, and I sold 200 homes and I sell a house, every other day and this and that. Now those are important. That definitely builds credibility too, right? But that's one thing that I'll critique with any marketing piece. Make it about them, not about you. right? And so just because something didn't work in the past, don't blame the whole idea. Let's slice and dice the exact, execution. Impatient, we all want money, we all want it fast, right? Well, this is definitely a long-term play, but it's also something that could definitely lead to immediate results too. But if we've got it budgeted, we've got it set as a system, it's organized and executed well, it's going to pay off. Okay. So why should you do it? Return on investment, cost of mailing versus commission. So again, the 5 to 10% rule. So I'm going to make some suggestions throughout the course, but let's say Joan spends $150 on that mailing. And, direct mail, there are some industry stats, right? Is it 1%? Is it 3%? Okay, so 150, that could lead to one sale. 100 cards at $150 lead to one sale. Let's say that sale is a $200,000 sale at a 3% commission rate. $6,000 off of 100%. So I'm take $100 divided into 6,000 and tell me what that return on investment is. 6,000%. Yeah, something like that. It's crazy. It's very big. You can't get that in the stock market or this real estate market. Don't quote me. You might need to edit that. Double check that. It's something with the six.
And I think it's an important point there is the goal that you set for that as well. Cedar Rapids didn't join us today.
Something for my drink.
Could be anyone.
Yeah.
With everyone. Is, you may do this for 3 months or 6 months and maybe only get 1 or 2 transactions out of it, but that's actually awesome. It's just that you have higher expectations as to what you'll get back from it. And it's actually only, there's little bottles of water right behind you too.
That's so sweet. Oh, look at these two. Look how hospitable they are. These are.
To be realistic about what the return is going to be. So you do it for 3 months or 6 months and you only get 1 or 2, transactions out of it, and then you're ready to throw it away. But then you really have to look at the numbers and see what that return on investment is.
I sent 700 down. So
Knock on wood. And positive action equals positive results. So so we got to think positive, and then we'll definitely look at that.
It's gonna do those twice a month.
Keep it coming. Well, even with the sale, you also have the brand awareness too. And things out there.
It's kind of hard to measure, but there is definitely that branding. That's got value.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we talked about we're in the section of so why should we do it? We do need to understand, I mentioned this, that this is a long-term investment. So we need to, and that's where we got to take our annual budget for what we're going to spend on this and be strategic about that. So if our total budget's of $700 or $1,000, to just shoot it all out at once, maybe not do that. Maybe break that down so it's a consistent flow. So we call it like a 6x6 or an 8x8. So 8 mailers over an 8 frequency amount of time. So whether that's monthly or bi-weekly, something like that. So monthly is not bad. I like monthly. Every 3 weeks is actually pretty good too, but that's definitely the formula. It's either a 6 over 6, 6 mailings over a 6-month period, or 8 mailings over an 8-month period, or something like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's just but then also, what about this? If we use it in a listing presentation from a lead that didn't come from direct mail, it came from a friend's referral, or it came from a lender referral, or it came from an open house, and we're in this appointment and we're sitting down at the dining table and we go through our listing presentation and this seller says, John, what are you going to do to market my home? We can show them that this is part of our marketing plan for you. I'm gonna do all these things, plus I'm gonna do this. And if you're competing, which a lot of times I don't know what the total amount of agents that anyone's ever competed against, but in my history, I don't ever hear anyone interviewing more than like 2 to 3 agents, right? So you got a 1 in 3 chance to get the listing, but does showing them that you're gonna do these 2 to 3 dozen marketing things plus the direct mail, does that increase your chance of getting that listing? I know for Joy and I, if we were looking at listing a home and the agent said that they're committed to doing that, heck yeah, absolutely. I want, I'm going to pay this agent 7-6% to sell my home. I want to see some tangible results, right? So absolutely. So it's not just maybe that direct lead that you're going to get from the mailer. It might be a byproduct from other things. Maybe if you're at an open house and someone is talking about, what you do for seller services, it's, it could be a 5-second, 10-second conversation. These are just some things that I do. I'd be more than happy to tell you more when we set up a time to meet. Again, it's just chipping away, right? So 4 steps to making direct mail work. Set up the budget. We talked about this. Focus on frequency over volume. Sometimes if we just, we have one message and we go all in on that message, right? We go all in on that branding. We go all in on that design. We go all in on that spot at the time. It may not line up. Stars may not align for you to get that immediate result. So that's why it's got to be a campaign, a series. So I mentioned the 6x6 or the 8x8. And so maybe the first one is, let's take your listing to its maximum. But then the second one is a build-up off of that. Do you know that these are the reasons why homes will or won't sell? Call to action. So if we have a campaign of 6 or 8 messages, maybe it's the 3rd, maybe it's the 4th, maybe it's the 6th mailer that gets them to say, oh, yeah, I should call Ben. I should call Tony. Okay. Make sure you can invest the same amount each month. So that, again, part of budgeting. Start with at least 100 homes. 200 to 300 is ideal. But again, everything will work if you work it, right? And so just by putting it out there, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So by just putting it out there, it's definitely better than nothing. You can definitely start with basic cards, just listed, just sold, open houses. I think what we're going to do, did you not figure this projector out yet?
Oh, he's gonna have to get up there and.
Okay,
and plug and
okay.
stuff,
So we had some examples of postcard mailings that Creative Concepts, our marketing team, does between Madison and Sarah. And so what we'll do is we'll share those. Maybe we should share them on First to Know, and that way everyone can see them, and then obviously you guys can see them too. There. Start or use. Anyone ever use Every Door direct mail? It's a service through the United States Post Service. Michelle? No, it's awesome. So before you used to have to, manually figure out how to get a mailing list. A postal mail list, geographic one. I want to mail all those apartments. So you drive in and out of these complexes and say, oh, that's unit 1, and that's or you had to, buy these lists from different sources. The post office, being very smart, trying to create value for themselves, created a way that you guys can pick, that we can pick every door in an apartment complex, every door in a neighborhood. So it's a pretty neat little system. So I've got the website there for you guys.
So with that, can you weed out, say you are sending something out and you don't want to market to a house that's already on the market, can you weed out addresses?
Not through that, but there are other programs. That's a great point. I don't remember if I have this in my notes, but please write this down. There's a company called RedX, redx.com. They are a company that will help you scrub lists.
Just the letter X.
Yep, yes, just the letter X, yep. There's another company called Vulcan, but I think RedX is better. Vulcan would be the number 2, and then there's one third one I think called Landshark, but I would start with RedX first. I know some of our agents use it. I know nationally, based off of the feedback that I've read, RedX has been one of the better ones. But that they could do that for you.
Do you think it's simple enough to just have a disclaimer on there?
Yes,
If you're currently on the market, which you have to do anyways.
Yes, yep, absolutely. Definitely need that disclaimer that we are not soliciting someone for their listing should they be on the market.
I don't think I did that.
Well,
Are you the broker's assistant?
how can you turn in this?
It's
lady?
good practice to do that, but it's not a legal requirement.
Oh, I thought it was.
We could always let Madison, just remind.
Yeah.
Maybe they could
I
just
thought they were
automatically
doing
put
it.
it on there.
Yeah.
Madison and Sarah.
I don't see it on there.
That's a great point, Michelle. Thank you. Use Design Center, Canva, or Creative Concepts to help with the postcard. Design Center, how many in this room have used Design Center for things like this? Design Center, you don't really have to look high and far. They've got so many cool templates. Canva, anyone use Canva? Yeah, Canva is such a great one. Canva, so like Canvas without the S, Chris, and then is it just like canva.com? Something like that, but it's a website.
They have everything.
Oh, do I have
there.
that? Yeah, it's a website that has templates for cards, business cards, and flyers, and all kinds of fun things. And it's really plug and play. Like you literally, they have the template, and then you just need to put in your images.
Do they also offer services if you like bought a bulk and like give them the address and
I
they?
don't think you can order through Canva.
Yeah, you can. They're just more of a graphic design website.
You can order
Yeah.
postcards though.
Oh, you can?
Mhm. I don't know
Um,
if they'll mail them for you, but I've ordered them and mailed them myself.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the values of creative concepts, and because we were here in agents, year after year, saying, "Oh, we wish we could do this and do that." Literally, every card is less than $1.50 sent out, and that's designed with postage and everything else. And if you need just a plug for creative concept, if you need any graphic design work, custom graphic design work done, it's $35 an hour. And between Madison, mostly it's gonna probably be Madison that does the graphic design work. She's real fast and can turn something out pretty quickly, especially if you've got some builder marketing materials that you need some help with.
Postcards Plus is also another really good one. You can either drop your design in, or they have Remax design cards in there already, and you can actually search a mailing list. I mean, you can like put the pin in and tell it how many houses you want around it.
Okay, what was that?
Postcards Plus.
Oh yeah, Postcards Plus. I've heard of that one.
You can also pull a mailing list just straight out the Matrix.
But the nice thing about Postcards Plus is that you can just drop. You can say the address. It'll drop a pin, and then it'll do. You can specify like single-family homes, how many homes you want in, and it'll kind of do it within a radius.
In realist.
That's what I do
Yeah.
for MLS mailing.
And then
Yes.
they just send it to that. I mean, it's all right there inside the program.
Yes, and that was another service provider. MLSmailings.com is also another very good one. So a lot of great service options out there that you guys can all check out. 2, picking your target farm. Look for a neighborhood with a high turnover rate, at least 5 to 6%. Total number of homes in the farm area divided by the number of homes that sold there in the last 12 months. So to give you an example, so 1,000 homes in that targeted area and 50 homes sold that month is 5%. So that tells you that there's a movement, there's some demand in that neighborhood. Over by my house, I live in West Des Moines, and there's a neighborhood called Heritage Bend, and literally that neighborhood, I see signs go up in yards, and I see houses. Then I see really quickly the house goes under contract. And so, what areas are you near that has a very good turnover rate?
So if it's like, say like 10 or 15%, is that a red flag?
No, I think that gives you a little bit more higher frequency. Now, every neighborhood is different. So why is it 10 to 15%? Is it a move up neighborhood? Maybe that everyone in that neighborhood's been there for 5 to 7 years, like a new construction neighborhood. Chad, that may, I'm just making this up, kind of, like let's say it's a 2007. Hi Don, have a seat.
Thanks.
That new construction, 2007, and it was starter homes for young families. And 5 to 7 years later, they're ready to move up. So that actually is a great target market. So every neighborhood's different. Now, if it's a neighborhood that has 15% turnover, and one of the reasons why is they're building a prison or a plant or something by that, then maybe don't target that neighborhood.
Okay.
But if you need help with that, just let us know. But that was a great question. Select an area where you want to work or where you live, near your office, kids, school, park, amenities. And that's also one of the cool things that you can do with your holistic marketing plan, is not only reinforce your personal brand because you have some sort of signage at your kids' events, or you're sponsoring something in the community or at the school, or you've already got lots of signs within like a 1 to 2 mile geographic radius. This direct mail helps you reinforce the brand that you're building. Anyone have any good luck with certain areas that and you don't have to share, but any certain areas that they've targeted in the past? The neat thing, like I said, there was 14,000 seller sites out there. So this is definitely something that can help on the listing side, but then also we talked about ideas on how it can help on the buyer side. One thing to think about too is sure that there's no dominant agents, but then also don't be afraid if there is, because there's a lot of agents that have been working a lot of these neighborhoods for a very long time. But are they keeping up with their marketing? Are they doing the photography that you guys are doing? Are they doing the videography? Are they doing the social media marketing? Are they doing the online marketing? Are they, are they beatable? And I would say anyone's beatable, right? So I wouldn't be too worried about that, but always, always, I guess, sum up your competition. Step three, create a postcard that converts. So to design traits of the best postcards, a single compelling call to action. Give you as an example, we have buyers contact us today. Some things that some marketers will do is they have too many calls to actions. Go to this website, email us here, call us here, call the 1-800 number, stop by our office. That's, that's just too much, right? Just give them one, simple, easy, effective, efficient call to action.
One of the best ones I sent out was a little old lady, looked like, wearing looked like she might have been right out of the 50s on a bench looking over a privacy fence at the neighbor's house. And it just said, "Are you curious what the neighbor's home sold for?"
Oh, that's a good one.
And
That's great.
people laughed. I always try to get humor and a point.
Yeah, I
Because
love that.
I like to make art, so
Yeah.
that's what I love to shoot for.
Yeah, and the neat thing too is we really don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, this industry is really R&D, rip off and duplicate, right? And so, and sometimes it might be instead of using that same picture that Mike's talking about, finding a newer picture that that might still have that same message, or maybe it's an updated font or an updated design, but the premise of that idea, is still relevant. And it's kind of funny, people think, oh, that's such a new and innovative idea. No, not really. It's just, making them look 2020, right? Same thing with, I'll just kind of segue a little bit, same thing with a lot of these presidential campaigns. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And then you do your research, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, that's what FDR wanted to do, or that's what Teddy Roosevelt wanted to do, or that's what, this and that was all about. It just, someone made it for 2020. So think about those things. Simple, clean designs with lots of white space. Minimal text with lots of bullet points. You don't need to write a story. You don't need to write a thesis on why you're the best real estate agent. It's a nice headline, some supporting bullets, facts, and a call to action. Okay? And again, I said this earlier, it's not about you, it's about them. How can you bring them value? Now, will people sign up with you as the #1 agent, DMAR, and somebody that sells 4,000 houses a year? Sure, maybe. But if that's your biggest, unique selling proposition, then, it's not going to always be the best for that seller. They don't want someone that's going to be too busy. So maybe it's, I have some staging services, or I know the market. Did you know my homes sell, 98% of list price, things like that. On average, I sell and close homes within a 6 to 7 year period. But just the key thing is, not making it about you, making it about them and the services that you provide. Here's an idea. The value of your home has changed. To find out what it's worth in today's market, call for a free, no obligation report. Again, people love to call, but they also love to not call too, right? So and that's a thing to think about too. How busy are you? So if you're telling everyone to call you and you don't like picking up the phone, or you're, going to be in meetings off and on for the next few weeks, maybe have them go to the website, sign up for more information, or shoot you an email, or have them, go somewhere that the lead goes to an assistant or to a team agent, and then let them qualify the lead. Make sense? So far, so good? Number 4, avoid the major mistakes of direct mail. Too many call to actions. We did that one. Too much stuff on your postcard. Designing the postcard yourself. Making the postcard about you. Co-opting postcard with another vendor. This one's okay for initial budget savings. If you want to co-op with like a loan officer, an insurance agent, home inspector, but maybe not too many, because then all of a sudden your postcard becomes kind of busy. But I don't see any fault if you do it strategic with like a loan officer. If anything, that could be a great way to double your efforts. Mailing less than 2 times per month, at least for at least the first 3 years, and never less than once a month. That's the key thing if you're going to commit to doing it. Do it at least once per month, because it's definitely not just brand awareness, but it's also that consistency, that repetitiveness that they come to trust in you. That Chad is consistent, Tony's consistent. I know every first of the month that I'm going to get this marketing piece, and then that's also going to give them an example of how you're going to be as an agent that's going to service them.
So it's that same neighborhood or same target month after month for 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
When it's just listing just sold though, and it's kind of all over, so you are getting from 2 different areas.
Yep. You could definitely do that. I would say, again, there's no right or wrong way, but the just listed, let's say you just listed a home in that neighborhood. Maybe think of what you're going to do during that listing period, whether it's okay, just listed. Then the next one could be, you want to pick your neighbors, call me today to have, or have them call me today to show them this home. Maybe it's open house. You're doing an open house that weekend. So think about the campaign for that singular listing, or if it's a just sold, you just sold that house, and maybe you did represent the seller, maybe you represented the buyer. Maybe it's a follow-up to that. Hey, I did sell this home, but we have more buyers that are looking. This home had multiple offers, so more buyers. I have a list of buyers that are ready and willing and able to buy a home just like yours. Or maybe it's a market report to that neighborhood. I sold this home last month, and these additional homes are now on the market or now for sale or have sold. Would you have any interest in learning more about the value of your home? So things like that. So that way it's maybe not a one and done. Let's see here. Direct mail ideas. I kind of actually just talked a lot about these too. Local area info. So I know that sometimes it's still branding, your name, your number, your picture, all those fun things, but maybe it's about the community. Maybe it's a new restaurant that opened up and you do some sort of co-op marketing campaign with them. Maybe it's a new service provider in the area, a new daycare just opened up, a new dry cleaning company just opened up. You want to make sure that everyone in the neighborhood knows about this new business. And actually that's a win-win, right? Because now all of a sudden you can go to the new owners of the Karma Bar and say, hey, would you like to partner in on a mailing? This is what I can do, this is what I'd like you to do, and this is the message we can send, and go from there. We talked about the open house invitation, but also price reduction, right? How many in this room do price reductions? I'd say everyone, right? And so announcing that new price reduction to the area, I think that's also important. Meet the neighbors. I think that's a fun way to really show value to your buyers, and then also kind of subconsciously market to the neighborhoods around them. When I was actively selling, I did this for a couple, Jordan and Erica. They moved in this neighborhood. It was a super cute family, just starting their life together, just had gotten married. Next thing you know, I got a call from my financial advisor because he lived down the street. I said, welcome Jordan, Erica to the neighborhood. They're the new homeowners at this home, of this home, and a little bit about them. And of course, definitely do it with their permission, right? They just got married, they're from these towns, they went to this college. If you ever see them out and about, please say hi. But then also, if you're thinking about buying or selling, give me a call. Bird dog looking for, I mentioned this earlier, and I think this is one thing that, and we'll talk more about this here in the future section, but a lot of us have ready, willing, and able buyers. And a lot of us, what we're going to do is what every other agent does, is we're going to go to the MLS and we're going to hope that one of the 3,000 to 4,000 listings is the home that our buyers are going to buy, that we'll close on and collect our commission on, right? That's 99% of the agents in our market. But what if you knew exactly the neighborhood, exactly the type of home, exactly the features that your ready, willing, and able buyers wanted, and you went above and beyond as an outstanding buyer's agent, and you targeted that market, that area for your buyers, and said, I have this super cute couple, Jordan and Erica. They're looking to buy a home with these types of features. If you or anyone in the area, in the neighborhood, have ever thought about moving, please give me a call. I'd love to work with you. So think about those things too. First time buyers targeting apartments. There sure are a lot of apartments in our area, aren't there? Being built left and right. A lot of these apartments are being rented by millennials, right? Millennials are individuals that were born like 1980 to 1996. They're going to be the largest buying generation that we've ever seen, bigger than the baby boomers. And by doing some sort of consistent, this may be one where a 6x6 would be good, just because, you know, if they're renting for 6 months or 12 months, you're going to consistently hit them every month. But why not, you know, send something to them, drip campaign style with items of value, information. Did you know buying your home can be as easy as these steps? I can help you. Did you know when buying a home, these are the financial benefits? I can help you. Did you know that there's this many homes in the market for this type of price point, similar to what you're paying in rent? I can help you. Did you know that if interest rates go up by 1%, that can impact your purchase power by $40,000? The time to buy it now to get the best value for your money is now. I can help you. So boom, 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 boom. Especially I love the idea of hitting up apartments in town, you know, any type of rentals. New construction for developments. Back to my neighborhood by my house, Heritage Bend. I know that some of those individuals have lived there for at least 5 to 7 years. That neighborhood's been around like since 2008, 2007, right? Those homeowners could be, especially when we scrub them through Red X, prime candidates to move. And so what I know is that neighborhood is also in the same school district as some new construction developments. So maybe they could be a prime candidate for some sort of targeted marketing piece, informing them that, did you know that, you know, there are lots available in the same school district that you can build this type of house. And if anything, if you're representing a builder, or if you ask to do this on behalf of a builder, or partner with the listing agent, it could totally be a win-win. And I would definitely tell you, every builder that you would bring this idea to, they wouldn't say no. Right, Trisha? Right. They'd probably say, yeah, absolutely. They might, you know, we've got to play nicely and make sure we're working with their agent, maybe, or if they're not represented in that certain area. But be creative and think about ways to do things like that. Does that make sense? Any ideas other than what I've got here for direct mail campaign?
I do have a question for you. So there was a company before called Listing Grabber. Essentially what they did though is they would send out the postcards for you, but each postcard was stamped with the address, so that it had like a hyperlink, so that if that homeowner went on to find out what their house was worth, they would ding you, so that it'd be like, oh, 2720 Maryland Drive, boom, they're on right now, they're interested in value, so you kind of know who you're talking to.
Nice.
It was pretty slick, but I didn't know if there's something even through maybe Redaction Design Center that would have something, so then you could, I mean, anymore now, it's like, I know there's other websites where you can send a postcard, but then on the postcard you can say, hey, please go here to find out what your home is worth. They click it, then you get their information, you know. So there's other ways to do it too. But
I'm pretty sure ours doesn't do that yet, but that's a great idea. And I'm not sure if MLS mailings or Prospect Plus does anything like that. Do you guys know by chance? No. Yeah, that's great.
I'll look up. I mean, just because it's just a code thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'll find out what the price is and how they're doing it. But that could be pretty. I mean, it's just nice because then it's a little bit more customized. You know what neighborhood's getting back to you. No value. It's just nice.
Chris, what was it called?
I think it was called Listing Grabber, and it made. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Everyone know Madison? Madison, you know everyone in this room?
No.
Why don't you stand up and introduce yourself and what you do here?
Hi, I'm Madison Ward. I'm on the marketing team with Concepts. I'm the digital media specialist, and I'm trying to make your guys' life easier. So I'm always open for ideas.
Did you help John with this one?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed.
She manned you.
I do. You know, I don't.
Did you man me or man me?
Some people are sir. Like Michelle can vouch for me, can't you?
And she calls me sir half the
I
time,
do.
so.
I don't.
Wait, so did you call me ma'am or man?
I'll go way back
man.
to the interview in the beginning, because you did.
Not a slight, I swear.
That's okay. I'm in touch with my gender. I was gonna say sexuality, but gender's fine.
Your masculinity.
I'm asking. Oh, thank
There
you.
you go.
Thank you. That's why she's in the marketing department.
That's not what
All right. Client compound bonus. So I actually kind of already touched on this. But this is how do we compound clients, right? So if we take one ready, willing, and able buyer and are successful, it's one transaction. But if we take that one ready, willing, and able buyer and get multiple transactions, that's the power of compounding, right? Eighth wonder of the world. Do more than the average agent, because wouldn't it be cool if you targeted, a certain area, best case scenario, you have a ready, willing, and able buyer, and they say, absolutely, Ben, I would love to meet your buyers, and I would agree to work with you as a buyer's agent. And they've signed off on unrepresented seller and agree to pay a commission. And you just hit it off with them. Like, oh my gosh, these guys are awesome. They're so nice. Oh, we get what? You don't have an agent? Oh, you're looking to move, up 1.5 times your current home value, or you want to move to a different neighborhood? I can help you. And so the next thing you've done is you've taken your existing ready, willing, able clients, brought them to a for sale by owner, or had just someone raise their hand in the neighborhood that you're geographically targeting, and then maybe you get more than just the buyer commission. Maybe you negotiate a deal where I'll help you on the listing side. These will be my services to you as an agent. I can do these things. I'm going to charge you this percentage or this rate for it, and then also let's go looking, once we get this deal put together. Anyone ever do that? Anything like that before? Oh yeah. And it works, right, Chris?
It does. Well, then they trust you. You don't trust with them on the listings, or even if they're just starting to look to buy, or vice versa. But
Absolutely. And that's the one thing too. We'll talk more about these targeted seller campaigns too. But I love targeting when I was active as an agent for sale by owners. Again, you miss 100% of your shots that you don't take. And so if I had a ready, willing, able buyer, I would always scrub for sale by owner websites, Craigslist, Zillow. Zillow actually makes it really easy, right? Because you can actually select on who has said for sale by owner, or who has also selected make me move, and then it's just send them a quick message, because they're already tied to that listing, right? And so you can say something to this effect, and I had it literally copy and paste. Hi, I'm I'm a local real estate broker with RE/MAX Concepts. I have a buyer that I think might have interest in your home, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to work with me as a buyer's agent. If so, I'd love to do a preview of your home. I'd never try, especially if you have the time, I would never try to take the client through there, because my first step was A, is this house a good fit? And then B, build a rapport with them, right? And one step I think I forgot to mention in there is I'd always say, like, would you be willing to work with me as a buyer's agent? If I were to help put a purchase agreement and help you come to terms, I would ask for a whatever you guys want to put down. I would always say at least 3.5. I'd start at 3.5% for a commission, and then go over there. So yes, no question, right? They can say no, sorry, they're not willing to work with agents. That's fine. Move on to the next one. But I'd say 80, 70 plus at least percent would always say absolutely come on through. Or if you're working with that ready, willing, and able buyer, and you've had a sit down buyer presentation, and you've explained how commission works, and you explain that there could be a scenario, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, that the seller is not willing to pay me commission, but I am showing you all these homes, I'm giving you my expertise, my time, spending time away from my family, there might be a chance where I'm going to need you to pay the commission, right? And how you can do that is we can agree to a purchase price with the seller, but then add the 3% on top of that, or 3.5% on top of that. So it's not like you're paying out of your pocket, it's coming out of the purchase price. And the way you talk to them about that, you talk them through that is, a lot of times, these sellers are selling below market value anyways. So you're getting me as an agent, and you're paying fair value. And I'm going to make sure you pay fair value, but of course I'm still going to try to get you the best deal possible. So there's different ways to spin it, but I don't know, has anyone done anything like that and had success?
Once.
Once?
Yeah, in all these years, I only had one buyer pay me a commission.
I've had a few pay me for next gen transactions.
Next gen is the only
Yeah.
one I ever did.
I had 3 for the buyers pay me, but
Yeah.
Early in my career, Next Generation would, under no circumstances, try to work with you and allow you to come in. Even they just wouldn't let you structure an offer where there was anything built into the purchase offer or the price that was going to translate into a commission for the buyer's agent. They went out of their way to make it,
Yeah.
but they changed their tune at some point.
there's one agent there that's really easy to work with.
Oh, Next Gen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Carolyn.
Yeah, I think back in the day it was next to impossible. Today they'll work with this,
Yeah.
but it's still, you still gotta buy her pay.
Yeah, no, that's, when an agent that just joined us from another brokerage, in her transition, I helped her write up an offer. I was actually really rusty with my dot loop, by the way. I forgot what my login was. So I just going through dot loop. It was like even like a Friday night or a Saturday night. So I was working hard. And I was like, okay, so I present the offer. It was a for sale by owner, and right away they're like, nope, we're not working with buyer's agent. And I was like, okay, so how can we get around this? So I just called, like, hey, just want to make sure that you're understanding this the way that I'm seeing it. This is how we're going to present it. This is how it's going to be structured. Like, yeah, it's just one of those things that, we don't want to do. I said, well, at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, but it's all about what you can net, right? So if I can help you achieve what you're trying to net and then add our agents, I was very transparent, told the situation that I was the broker or the agent coming over. But if I can help you achieve that net, it doesn't really matter. And I just went silent because I wanted them to think about it. And I kind of hear them talking back and forth, and long story short, they said, okay, fine. This is going to be where we need to be at from a net standpoint. Anything above and beyond that is something that we'll have to add to the price. Well, went back to the buyer and to our agent and did a conference call with them. I said, hey, this is where we're at. The buyer understood the value because the agent had done that. That kind of sit down, talk with them that, hey, this seller may not pay the commission. But then the buyers were like, we'll pay the commission. So whatever we can get, this is where we'd like to be at. And it was like a $5,000 spread. And the commission was like $8,000, right? So we're off like $3,000. Buyer said, sure, we'll do this because we value the agent and what she's done for us. And the seller understood where we were coming from and how it was going to work. And we got the deal done. So at the end, sometimes it's just like picking up the phone because so many things are not communicated or translated over a text or an email. Better yet, that's why I say preview the house, because when you can meet this tough for sale by owner that is all big and burly over the phone, and next thing you know, they're really just a big teddy bear, right? When you kill them with kindness and build that relationship, that rapport with them, you just kind of chisel away, and then they get it, they understand.
I was going to say one thing that we did verbally, but now I want to do it writing this year, is just there's a one page to your buyer that says, hey, things just to be aware of with for sale by owners.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest thing that can keep them on your side is just getting the closing table.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of sellers will refuse to pay fees. I mean, you'll get there, there's so many stories where you get there and the seller's like, I'm not going to pay that $3,000. Well, it's a seller's closing cost. I mean, I'm not going to. And at that point, it's like, they're either not going to pay it, or and buyers write checks. They write checks at closing. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Or they get, or the possession, they get, no one's feeling that they can't take possession of their house.
Yeah.
Oh no, we just decided we're going to stay for another 3 weeks. Oh, okay, so there's just so many things that happen that buyers don't realize. So I think that's what we're gonna, as far as goals, like even a one sheet, just say, hey, things to really look out for. It's not just us trying to make money. It's that you could be in trouble, or if you're selling your house, there's a domino effect, and that buyer doesn't, says they just want to stay there for 3 more weeks, you're in big trouble. So
Call it the scare sheet and
just
share that with everybody.
I mean, but it's true and it's scary. I mean, it happens, and it happens so much. It might not be every train, and I've seen some of them that are just easy and no problem. But we just had one where there was an inspection, and we lost the deal with her, but we still walked her through it. We were hopeful, we weren't going to just leave it hanging, but it was a pretty big inspection item.
Yeah,
And she didn't really know how to handle it. So just things that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Be
No,
cognizant.
that's great. I wrote that down. So advanced buyer dialogue and a cheat sheet. So, but yeah, let's see here. So a little bit more about the client compound strategy. Mine and your database and the MLS. That's the one thing too, as we talked about, a lot of us in this room wanted to have a goal of organizing the database and doing more referral marketing. Sometimes the listing that's perfect for your buyer is right underneath your nose, right? Just a phone call away. So one of the cool things that happened last year with Remax globally is they invested in a company. What was the name of the company? I can't remember. Not Boosh. It's called First or something like that. It's a company where they do like data analytics predictive
Oh.
marketing, that they can
Yeah.
actually help you look within your sphere of influence, your database, and predict who is potentially a seller. They've got all these different like triggers. What's it called? It's called first.
Algorithm?
Yeah, algorithm. But I can't remember the name of the company. They purchased the company. First something. Yeah. But we ourselves can do that, especially if your database. I mean, we don't need tens of thousands of people in our database.
It's
We don't-
just called first.
First, okay.
Yeah.
I was right. We just need a few hundred, right, in our database. So let's say you have 200, 300, 400 people, and you have your database organized by town, right? And so I have this buyer that want to move to Ankeny. So who do I know in my sphere that lives in Ankeny? So you search your own database that way, and then you've got their phone numbers, of course. You've got their email addresses, and who's to say that you can't have a canned text message go to your sphere of influence members that live in Ankeny. Hey, I've got this buyer. I don't know if you or anyone that you know is thinking about selling, but if you are, this is what my buyers are looking for. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it too is post and boost on social media. That is one thing that I love seeing, but I don't see enough of from our agents. And I really think it is value because let's say that, I'm gonna pick on Chris and Tyler just for a second. Let's say Chris and Tyler were wanting to buy a house and I was the buyer's agent. I could say, hey, Chris, Tyler, would you guys be okay if I used one of your pictures or, took a picture right now, posted it on my Facebook page, tagged you to, I have about 2,600 friends on Facebook. A lot of them are agents, but a lot of them also are may know a potential seller that is thinking about selling, because at a bare minimum, I'm going to show you, these are the 3,000 or 4,000 listings that are in the market, right? We're going to weed this down and we might come up with 10, 20 homes that we're going to look at, right? But I'd love to find you a needle in a haystack, a diamond in the rough. So would it be okay to post something like this? Chris and Tyler are looking for a home in this area at this price point. I tag you too. Chris has like 5,000 friends on Facebook. Tyler probably does too. Next thing you know, what does that do for your own personal branding, right? Who, as a real estate agent, is now on social media connected and tagged to Tyler and Chris, which, I bet you guarantee that we have less than 10%, maybe 20% of our friends are similar. There's so many other people that they know that I don't know. That's just another way to really leverage your clients and compound on top of that. Door knocking bonus. Anyone in this room ever door knock? Don?
Oh,
Yeah. Can you have a good success story? Or
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I had a couple one time that wanted to live next to 235 north of Euclid in that, I can't remember the name of the street, East 24th, East 25th, Lay Street.
yeah, Grandview Estates, Grandview something.
Is that what it is?
I think it's
Up on the hill there.
Yeah, Linda Westergaard lives on 23rd
Yeah.
Street. My mom and dad, I have a house on. My mom still has a house on 24th Court.
Yeah.
She called, knocked on my door.
Yeah.
Mom's door.
They were looking for a two-story.
Okay.
And it's been years ago, but I just went and knocked on all the two-story. I looked up the people's name first and then knocked on their door.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's-
Again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and then the things that we have to monitor from a capacity standpoint: time, ideas, money, and energy.
I'll tell you that my best knocking on the door.
Okay.
My very best. So Earl Crouch at Earl's Tires wanted to buy our acreage down by Norwalk. So I went through the expired listings and I found one for, people's name was Bishop. He said it's been 750,000, so it was worth
Yeah.
it. So I'm driving down this long driveway to the Bishop's house. It's probably from here to that next house, the driveway is or longer. I'm thinking, I don't want to do this. The $700,000 house and no business. So I knocked on the door. And the lady came, it was 10 o'clock in the morning. The lady came to the door in her house coat and nightgown. And she said, "You're Don Godwin." And I said, "Yes." I said, "How do we know each other?" She goes, "Don, our kids went to Awana when they were kids together."
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So So she said, you gotta talk to my husband. So I talked to him. He said, I'm not gonna sell the house right now, but I got 2 business buildings in Indianola I'm gonna sell. And I'll list them with you. So, 650,000, wasn't it, Joe? The building.
Yeah.
And then we sold us 12 acres next to this other building for 350,000.
Woohoo. Whoa, that's $1 million worth of business from a door knock. How many times you knock?
Not very many.
Boom, 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 boom. That's not bad. That's a pretty good ratio.
Well, the fun part is that she knew me, and it was good. Just level the playing field.
Yeah. And it's surprising, like so many people that you don't know where they live, because I have a similar story. I was in Altoona with some buyers, and I saw a for sale by owner. I saw this mom with a bunch of little kids. Clients were in the car. I'm like, oh, you guys mind if I just stop real quick? I was like, this looks like a really cute house. I want to see if they'd be willing to set a point to look at it. So sure enough, I pull over and go up to her, and she squints at me, and she's like, ooh, is that you? And I was like, oh, it's Tammy. And it was the girl I went to middle school with. I hadn't seen her since middle school. And sure enough, she had her house for sale by owner. I didn't end up helping the buyers I had in my car with that, but I did end up listing it. And I did end up helping them buy a house. So it was awesome. And then the cool thing, kind of like your story, I was able to reconnect with her and became Facebook friends and got to know her husband and her kids. And it was awesome. But again, this is where this door knocking bonus comes in. And again, if you're in there, especially if you're strategic about your time, you're going to be in Ankeny, you're going to be in West Des Moines, you're going to be in Norwalk, and you look at, everyone that you have upcoming, and you're like, you know what, maybe this is a good time. I have about an hour between my next appointment. Maybe this is a good time to do some door knocking or just do something outside the box. So you do what John says. You go on the Aspires, you look on the for sale by owners. You're like, you know what, the house that those people lived there since 1984, or they lived there since at least on average, everyone moves by every 5 to 7 years. So, I mean, why not? And if you don't get them, that's okay, because there are different things that you can do too. So, so here's a little bit of the tip. So, hello, I'm Umex with Remax Concepts. How are you today? Here's a market update on listings and sales in your neighborhood. How long have you lived in the neighborhood? Why'd you pick the neighborhood? Why'd you move from? Why did you move, or where did you move from? Do you plan on staying in this home much longer? So these are all just conversation ideas that you can have. Now, are people going to think that you're soliciting them? Sure, absolutely. Is it going to be, get off my lawn and never come back? Maybe. But at the end of the day, if you come there with a purpose and a reason and a story, right? What I would say is, hi, I'm Umex. I'm with Remax Concepts. So you have some credibility. You hand them a business card. You got your logo on. You're dressed nice. You don't look like you just, robbed a bank. People are going to talk to you. And you can say, the reason I'm here, I've actually got clients in the car, or I'm actually in between meetings with clients. I love your house. It's a gorgeous house. I've always loved this style of home. I've driven by your house so many times, but would you ever consider selling? Or how long do you plan on staying here? Or do you know if any of your neighbors are willing to sell? Let's say worst case scenario, not even worst case scenario, let's say they don't open the door, no one opens the door. So if you were, if you want to have this as a potential lead generation system, and you have it as a plan and a goal, and you have it as a system, what you could actually do is have some pre-made post-it notes, right? Or even like door hangers, or just something, right, that's already like locked and ready to go, and you can just put it on the door. Say, hi, is this in this neighborhood? Have some buyers that might, you can do very generic and very universal. Have some buyers that would love to potentially look at your house if you've ever had any interest in selling. Try it that way. So next steps, review your current budget plan for 2020. Marketing should be anywhere from 5% of your gross commission. We talked about that earlier. Commit to adding direct mail as a lead generation tool. Follow the 4 steps, and then check out Design Center for ideas. Also check out ideas through Creative Concepts, which we'll share on First to Know, right? I think Michelle was going to change it, share it, but maybe we can even see if Nancy wants to share on.
Tell me I should not have come down here. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm telling you, you should
No, I didn't.
share your awesomeness with everyone in the company.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. Kind of like what we talked about in the meeting last week, right? And then maybe knock yourself out and try to door knock 5 homes. Again, it's a contact sport. It's a numbers game, but it's exciting. It is fun, though. It's one of those things where the end goal is to help your clients buy or sell, and this is that journey that's that path that you can go on to do all those things and meet a lot of people. Don?
Anybody in here ever work for Combined Insurance?
Mm.
Combined Insurance is out of Chicago. They sell accident policies, $20 accident policies, door to door, and they work rural areas. In 1980, I worked for them for 3 months after I closed my real estate office, and I was broke, and so they train you. You have a canned speech. The jokes, everything are built in, and yeah.
You still have some of those scripts?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well, I should. I memorized the thing. But anyhow, what happens is, back then, $52 million a week went to Combined Insurance.
Oh my gosh.
They got these salesmen all across the country going door to door. So Dan Moulton, that's Keith Moulton's dad, trained me in Carlisle. So we're knocking on every door in Carlisle. And I've often thought preachers ought to have to work for Combined Insurance because there's people out there who are very needy, people who just want to talk. But what they do is you have this little song that you sing between door knocks, and you have so the lady comes to the door and says, "Get out of here! I don't want to talk to you. Thanks. See you in 6 months," and you walk away. And because they go 6 months back to the same, the policies were only for 6 months long, so they go back to the same place. And then you sing, "I feel happy, healthy, and terrific. Healthy and terrific is the way I feel. I feel happy, healthy, and terrific. Healthy and terrific is the way I feel." You knock on the next door.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That was really good.
And
We should have spun the camera.
yeah. So what happened this one time? It was just fun. So the screen door is open, the door is open, but the screen door is shut, and we installed a baking. So Dan says, and he's a crazy guy in the house. Dan says to the lady who comes to the door, "You wouldn't have it." It goes off script. He says, "You wouldn't have to have a glass of milk and a cookie for a couple of tired salesmen." She said, "You boys come in here." And so we went in, and her name was Rhoda Brockett. I'll never forget this. But Dan thought she said Rhoda Rocket. And he about died laughing because she just shuffled along, you know. But she bought a policy from us, but she just wanted company. I mean, she just wanted somebody to visit with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it happens. I mean, most of them will tell you to go away, but there'll be some that.
Best cookie you had that day.
Yeah, right.
Sounds like a future Decoy song.
Yeah, that's it, man.
When actually it sounds kind of like corny, right? The singing the song in between, but you kind of need those affirmations every time you're down, or just to start your day or end your night. I mean, we all need those affirmations, and so I love it. But yeah, so that's all I got, guys. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys are inspired to do some direct mail.
Thank you.